That night, I left my window slightly open, hoping the cool breeze would help me sleep. But what slipped inside with the air was something I could never have prepared for. The curtains moved, my skin prickled, and then I felt it, fingers grazing my leg, slow, deliberate, almost curious. I told myself it was just the wind, but deep down, I knew the wind doesn't breathe against your neck, and it doesn't whisper your name in the dark. I lay there frozen, my blanket half slipped down from my hip as the night air brushed against my skin. The room should have been silent, only the hum of the distant streetlights outside, but instead I could hear it, a rhythm, slow, steady breathing that wasn't mine. My chest rose and fell in shallow gasps, every muscle in my body tense, waiting for proof that I wasn't losing my mind. And then it came, the dip of the mattress beside me. Subtle at first, almost like the shift of my own weight, but then heavier, undeniable. Something had joined me in the bed. I clenched my eyes shut, praying I was imagining it. But the presence was impatient. A faint touch traced the curve of my leg from my knee upward, gliding with an unnatural precision. It wasn't cold this time. It was warm, too warm, as though whoever or whatever was there carried its own heat. My breath hitched as the hand lingered at my thigh. My fingers dug into the sheets, desperate to anchor myself, but my body betrayed me. My pulse thundered in my ears, and though fear coursed through me, there was another sensation rising beneath it, one I didn't want to acknowledge. The scent hit me next, faint but unmistakable, earthy, like damp soil after rain, laced with something sweet, something that curled deep in my chest and made my head swim. I tried to tell myself it was perfume drifting in through the open window, but the window had only let in the breeze. Not this. The mattress shifted again, closer this time. I could feel the weight press into the space behind me, as though a body leaned just out of sight. My hair moved, a lock sliding across my cheek, not from the wind, from breath, warm and steady, brushing against my face in waves. I almost spoke, almost screamed, but the words never came. My throat tightened, trapping the sound. My lips parted only in a silent gasp when the touch returned, this time sliding up my side, over the thin fabric of my shirt. Not a harsh grab, not even a firm press, but a slow, deliberate graze, as if unseen fingers were mapping me, claiming me. My eyes flicked open for a moment, darting toward the corner of the room. Nothing, just shadows layered against shadows. But I knew better. The air was too heavy, the silence too charged. Something was there, and it wasn't leaving. I swallowed hard, the sound loud in the quiet, and that was when I heard it, so close to my ear I thought it was my own thought, a breath, a whisper, not words I could understand, but a sound low and intimate, like it was speaking only to me. I gripped the blanket tighter, every nerve in my body on fire, fear and heat tangled inside me, a dangerous mix I couldn't escape. Whatever this was, it knew me, it wanted me, and it wasn't going to stop, but I still had no idea how far it was willing to go. The whisper lingered in my ear, curling around me like smoke, impossible to escape. My whole body stiffened as the mattress dipped deeper. This wasn't a fleeting illusion, it was real, and it was closer than ever. I tried to move, to shift away, but the invisible weight pressed into the bed, anchoring me in place. My breath came faster, chest rising and falling against the tension. Then it happened. Fingers, light and deliberate, brushing along my waist. The touch wasn't random. It was tracing me, memorizing me, sliding upward and pausing just beneath the curve of my ribs. The air thickened, each inhale pulling that intoxicating scent deeper into me. Earthy, sweet, almost metallic. The smell made my thoughts blur, as if my body was given in even while my mind screamed to resist. And then I felt it, the faintest drag of something against my neck. Not lips, not skin, but breath so warm and steady that I shivered. I whispered, barely audible, "Stop." But even as the word left me, my body betrayed the truth. I tilted my head slightly, exposing more of my neck, as though inviting it closer. Fear and something darker tangled in my chest. Then came the sound, low, almost like a hum. Satisfaction, the kind of sound that made my stomach tighten. The touch moved again, sliding downward now over the curve of my hip, across my thigh. My leg twitched, instinctively pulling upward, as though opening me further. The movement wasn't mine. I hadn't chosen it. And yet, it felt inevitable. My heart hammered so loudly that it drowned out the night itself. Every thud echoed through me, fueling the presence pressing closer. Fingers grazed the inside of my thigh, feather-light, but sharp enough to make me gasp. My hand shot out, gripping the edge of the sheet, desperate to ground myself. The presence leaned in further. I could feel it now, heat radiating just behind me, so close that the fabric of my shirt shifted with each breath. The scent wrapped around me stronger, filling my lungs, intoxicating me. My head spun, my lips parted involuntarily. I hated myself for it, but I wanted to breathe it in. Then without warning, my hair moved. Strands lifted as if brushed aside by unseen hands, tucked gently behind my ear. The gesture was too careful, too human, and that made it worse. My skin prickled as warm breath swept across the newly exposed skin. The whisper returned, clearer this time, though still impossible to understand. The tone, however, was unmistakable, possessive, claiming. The sound slid into me, seeping under my skin, and I realized it wasn't asking permission. It never had. I shuddered when the hand at my thigh shifted again, sliding upward with agonizing slowness. My pulse raced. My lips trembled as I whispered a broken word. "Please." I didn't even know if I was begging it to stop or to continue. The mattress dipped harder near my hip, the sheets tightening against me as though pulled from both sides. My chest rose sharply, my breathing shallow. I could feel the weight of knees pressing into the bed, pinning me in place. Every part of me screamed that I was trapped, that this was wrong. And yet, beneath the terror, there was a heat I couldn't ignore, a warmth that spread through my chest, down into my stomach, making my skin tingle with every second of its touch. My body no longer felt like my own. I was caught in a storm of fear and unwanted desire, unable to separate the two. Each caress blurred the line further. Each breath against my skin pulled me deeper. The whisper came again. One word, clear this time. Mine, the sound carved into me, vibrating through my chest. My eyes squeezed shut, tears gathering at the corners, not just from fear, but from the overwhelming truth that I didn't know if I wanted to fight anymore. And in that moment, I realized something far worse than being haunted. I was being claimed. The word echoed in my head. Mine. My whole body froze, every muscle trembling under the invisible weight. Then, as suddenly as it began, everything vanished. The warmth, the touch, the pressure on the bed, gone. My chest heaved as I gasped for air, the silence of the room pressing down harder than the presence itself. But when I dared to open my eyes, I saw it. At the foot of my bed, the blanket was indented, deep, unmistakable marks where knees had been. My breath hitched. I blinked once, twice, and the impression remained, slowly fading but never fully gone. Even now, I don't know if it was real or a dream, but one thing is certain. My room no longer feels like mine, and neither does my body. Have you ever felt something or someone touch you in the dark? Share your story in the comments below. Subscribe to Paranormal Sleep, because the next story might be yours.